Things are getting out of hand, and at this point a tug-of-war between Cat Matlala, IDAC, and Lieutenant Mkhwanazi has begun. At first, when Saint Mkwanazi busted all the criminal syndicates in the country, they tried to kill him, but they all failed. When matter gets tougher, they came up with a new strategy which might possibly hurt Lieutenant Mkhwanazi. Guess what has happened today? Cat Matlala, the alleged underworld kingpin, has accepted to take a 15-year jail term and agreed to be a state witness in order for the prison term to be reduced to 8 years. Why has this happened? Who has gone to CMAX to give this advice? Obviously IDAC are working hand in hand with him to get Lieutenant Mkhwanazi implicated and arrested at all cost. They have issued an arrest warrant against Lieutenant Mkhwanazi and General Khumalo already. If they strike and arrest the two of them, there will be a free chance and avenue for Matlala to come out and tell lies against them as a state witness. This will be a very complicated battle, but we believe Saint Mkhwanazi will emerge victorious. Who are you supporting? If you are a true fan of Lieutenant Mkhwanazi, then hit the like button, comment Viva Mkhwanazi our hero, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Jabulani, roll out the clip where Lieutenant Mkhwanazi knew of the plot twist beforehand, and what he said about it before we break down what IDAC and Matlala have planned to do.
So why would you come with a warrant of arrest and a person who makes up a story? I thought it's just a story that is flying. But when Khumalo told me today that he's received a phone call by IDAC that say he must present himself at the station, so I thought the 48 hours that we were warned about yesterday, it's real. That's why I came here, so that first I can confirm with Khumalo to see the phone numbers that called him. And also, if IDAC is here, I might as well say, here I am, if you need me as well. But to my surprise, then Khumalo gets another phone call that says that he doesn't have to present himself because of some executive decision.
In fact, that's also what we've been told. Have you gotten any clarity as to what exactly happened between the time Khumalo was told to present himself and the time at which he then was not going to be processed at this police station?
There are phone numbers that call them. The people that own those phone numbers, perhaps they one day must take the microphone and tell South Africa, why did they call them to come here? And why did they call them not to come here?
Now, let's watch exactly what Cat Matlala said during his testimony at the Ad Hoc Committee that IDAC has planned to use against Lieutenant Mkhwanazi. Pay close attention to this plot twist, because our hero might be in danger soon. Do you think Matlala was lying against our national hero? Or could Lieutenant Mkhwanazi be part of the gang too that got kicked out and he became angry? This clip will expose a lot. Grab a cup of coffee, let's watch together. Jabulani, roll out that clip, that sensitive information about Dumisani Khumalo, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, Bheki Cele, Brown Magotsi, and Senzo Mchunu.
So, when I met with General Mkhwanazi, he said to me, yes, I hear about your problem that you're having, so that they don't give you guys enough work. They just send work in send drips so that they don't breach their contract. But actually, if it was according to them, they wouldn't send any purchase orders at all. They just send small purchase orders so that they can just keep you entertained. So, but they're saying actually what they want to do is cancel this contract. So, and he said to me, they actually met. He said there was a police summit in somewhere in Emperor's Palace, and he's saying, during that summit, after the summit, I think, he said to me, General Nkowa asked National Commissioner Fani Masemola that when are they actually cancelling my contract? And Fani Masemola said that, this is what I heard from General Mkhwanazi. Fani Masemola said that, listen, I spoke with the minister. Remember last year, December, he gave a directive that we must cancel this contract, but now I ask him that I cannot continue, and then it looks like he is breaking down now. So, National Commissioner Masemola, according to Mkhwanazi, he said, I suspect that this Mchunu is working with Sibiya now, and then he no longer want to cancel the contract because I suspect that they will send this guy, meaning me, to come and kill me, and then they must put General Sibiya as the National Commissioner. And Mkhwanazi said to me that, I said to National Commissioner that, Commissioner, if you think that your life is in danger, just say the word. I will take care of this cat. Then I asked him, what did you mean when you say that he must just say a word and then you will take care of me? And he told me that there is only one way that I can take care of you permanently. But he didn't say it in like kill you, but he just said to me that there is only one way that I can take care of you permanently. And I said, but what was the reason for that? Because he told me that they suspect that why will suddenly the minister decide not to cancel the contract anymore? But before that, he was the one actually who said we must cancel this contract. So he said to me, he told Fadima Senona that he will call the commander of special force and then they must give him a armored car from now on, because his life is in danger. And he was saying all these things to show me that General Nkua was pushing for this contract to be cancelled. And then he said to me further that she's doing this because she was working with the previous service provider, and then they were giving her a lot of money. That's why she could afford to buy properties and convert them into B&Bs. And he even gave me one address of her properties, which I wrote it down later. And then when I came back to Pretoria, I went there actually to check the property, and then I even took a street number and pictures of that property that he said is one of the properties that she owns, and there's no way that she can afford such properties with a salary from SAPS. So now, if you want her to come and work with you, are you going to offer her the same incentives that Metropolitan was offering her? Then I knew that I was very in deep trouble than I thought I was. Because of now, he was saying there is no way a woman like a general like her that she will just dump people who were offering so much money and come work with you. It's either when I tell her that she must come work with you, then you will continue doing what these people they were doing to her. And then, but he said, there's conditions though. I also want you to do something for me. And I asked him, what is it? He said, there is a case opened against him from in IPID. So he said there's a guy that they tortured, and the guy that they tortured opened a case against them, and then I must convince, because the guy stays, I also have a house in Mistream. So he said, because you stay in Mistream, I'll tell you the name of the guy and check if you know the guy. And I said, tell me, and then Mistream is not that big. Maybe I might know the guy. And he told me the name of the guy, and I told him, actually, this guy, his son goes to the same school as my son. So, but what I will do is, I will ask my wife to ask his wife if he can facilitate a meeting for me to meet the guy so that I can convince him. And he said, I must tell the guy that, listen, he must drop the charges against him, and also he must add that the people who actually compelled him to lay charges against him is Minister Mchunu and General Sibiya. However, I couldn't get the guy and convince him to do what he wanted to do. And I thought maybe that was one of the reasons also that maybe I got arrested, because I didn't deliver what I promised him. So that was the purpose of my meeting with him there in the Pels.
Are you sure that you didn't meet General Mkhwanazi because you, in exchange for assistance to get the purchase orders placed with you, pursuant to the contract, that you were prepared to offer him information on Sibiya?
I don't follow your question.
I said, are you sure that the purpose of this meeting with General Mkhwanazi was not that he would have been prepared to speak to the head of HR to place orders on the contract which was then awarded to you? Hadn't been cancelled yet. But it would be in exchange for information about Sibiya.
So if I get this right, you're saying the purpose of my meeting was for me to give General Mkhwanazi information about Sibiya.
I interrupted you.
Please. Yeah, and then, yes, I was saying, when I met, can we go back to Beverly so that you can follow up? Can I go back to my interaction with Minister Ndlela?
Yeah.
When I was with Minister Ndlela, I explained to him actually that this guy, he's saying he was, well, after he sorted out my problem, now we started talking, and he asked me, what did I do about this? And I told him about this Brown Mohotsi situation. Then I even showed him the chats that he was sending me, and then also him requesting me to give him money and everything. But I said to him, it's okay, since you helped me, I'm going to block this guy. And then he said, no, actually, this guy might, because I think, he said to me, the problem that is there is that the Minister Mchunu, he's got a problem with the police being still loyal to him. And then Minister Mchunu wanted to remove General Dumisani Khumalo as the head of intelligence and put his own people. So that's why they are fighting. So now, this guy, since he's saying that he's close to the minister, he works in his office, don't block him. I think through him, he will lead us to the minister, because he's saying that the minister gave him the directive to do the investigations and everything. He said, I must keep on entertaining him. So, and then I told him that, but listen, this guy, he's asking a lot of money now. He wants me to pay him for this January 8th thing, whatever. And he said to me, please just do it for us, but don't give him more than 200,000. And then if he asks more than that, then you can stop giving him money. But he said, I must continue, keep on entertaining him, tell him what he wants to hear. And he also told me that he will come, because this guy, Bongani, he was also present. So this guy Bongani was also present there. So Bongani told him that, oh, actually, Ndosi, this guy in Pretoria there, he's got a nice penthouse. Because you like to visit Pretoria a lot, when you're that side, he can offer you accommodation. And I said, it's fine, I don't have a problem. When you're at this side, I can offer you accommodation. And then...
Have you heard the sensitive information Matlala revealed about Lieutenant Mkwanazi that IDAC has planned to bank on? What's your opinion on that? Is it incriminating enough to lead to someone's arrest warrant? What has our hero actually done wrong? Has he stepped on toes more dangerous and lethal than him? Does he has any information that those at the helm of affairs don't want him to expose? Let's have your opinion in the comment section on the possible reason why the state wants to arrest him and General Khumalo. Now Jabulani, roll out the clip where Mkwanazi said his own side of the story when he met Kat Matlala. From there we would see who is truly lying.
Is that close to you? He said, no, he's my brother. Then I started saying to him, but there's investigation happening in Gauteng where this cat is got issues that are questionable about him. So you sure you're not part of the wrong? He said, no, Cat is, I know him as a clean guy, he's my brother. Even if you check the phone communication between me and him, we are brothers. So I had no reason not to believe the head of the Hawks in KZN when he tells me this, that Cat is just a brother. I finished the conversation, I talked to Khumalo, I said, Senona has this close relationship with Cat. Maybe when we check the downloads of Cat, we must run the Senona's phone and see if there's any communication between them. So that's how the extract of the communication and the relationship between Cat and Senona was discovered, because it's Senona that disclosed the relationship between him and Cat. Fast forward from there, Senona comes to me and he says, hey, you remember the guy I told you about, Kat Matlala? I said, yeah. He said, that guy's got a contract in the police of a health contract. But he's struggling because police are not placing orders. Now he wants to reach out to talk to the end user, which is Nhlanhla. And when they establish the people that can link him with Nhlanhla, they discover that you're the one of our entire management of the SAPS, you're the one that is closest to Nhlanhla. Can you arrange a meeting? So now I said to Senona, but why must I arrange a meeting for Kat Matlala and General Shadrack for what reason? And he says, no, but looks like Kat has an information that can assist Khumalo and the team with their investigation in Gauteng. So that what drew my attention, and I said, but he's got information. What information? He said, no, the role that's be a place in this whole criminality happening in Gauteng. So that got me excited. And I said, okay, well, we'll confirm the meeting. From there, I then contacted Jaro Khumalo. I said, Jaro Khumalo, this is what I'm aware of. Must we have this meeting? So we agreed, no, let's have the meeting. But let's control the venue where the meeting is. And let's wire the place so that you can record everything happening in the meeting. Hence the flat. That we had to discard, get a flat, a place where we can go in, nobody can trace us. Anything happening there can be on record. I was hoping the day that Kat is going to say he gave me money, because I was going to come and show you that there was never anything handed. I'm glad he didn't, because there was nothing. So the meeting then is arranged, and I go back to Senona. I said, tell him to come. Then General Senona invite him to come. And I said to Senona, I know this guy moves around with bodyguards. When he comes to see me, he must be alone and you, just the two of you, nobody else. So you're going to pick him up, or you pick him up, you're going to bring him to me. Then he said, okay, we're going to meet at Umhlanga. The meeting is going to be around Umhlanga. They met at the hotel. Mr. Adams is not here. I'm sure he's watching at home. Oyster Box. Oyster Box is a very expensive hotel in Durban. That is where they met. Kat and Senona. Whether inside the hotel or at the parking, I was not there, but they met at the hotel. Because after that, Senona, first time I saw Senona driving a Polo car. You know, this one is driven by these Uber boys, the small car, VW. Senona was driving that car. He called me, he said, I'm with Kat. We're driving this Polo. We are getting out of Oyster Box. So I said, okay, come up because I'm in the vicinity. He gave me the description of the car. I spotted the car. Then I said, okay, I see I'm driving this car in front of you, the Mercedes-Benz. Can you see it? He said, yeah, no, we can see it. I said, okay, follow me. So I drove them down towards Pavilion, not Beverly Hills Hotel, around into Pels. There's a parking at the bottom there for those that know Umhlanga, towards the beach. So we enter in there, into the boom gate. I show my face, the boom gate opens. I go in, I tell the security to open for him. They open for them, and they followed me. Some 50 meters we park, we walk, we get out of the cars, we walk into the lift, into your apartment. Honorable Chair, that apartment from where we're seated in a 3-seater dining room table, a glass table, can only sit 3 people. Where I'm sitting, at least a meter, is the wall. Behind me, a meter, it's another wall. On this side, it's a lounge that will be at least maybe about where Honorable Skosana is seated. That's where the TV is. And on that corner, on that side, which is a good 4 meters or so, is an entrance into the apartment. And on my right, open plan, Honorable Chair, up to where the podium is, which roughly about 4 meters or so, is the sink at the end of the kitchen. So for Senona to say he was busy drinking somewhere, he couldn't hear anything. When we are here, you're talking, a person on TV, a person here can hear everything. It's just the 3 of us, nobody else there. So we said, we spoke. That's when he then gave me this information. The information is about Steve Matlala was awarded. Minister Mchunu was not in, when the process started, Minister Mchunu was not in the organization at the time. Nhlanhla was the executive authority at the time.
So at least on the face of it, there appeared to be some connection, and so when you miss 1 digit on 2 numbers that look almost exactly the same, there's no reason to think that it was done maliciously or with some ulterior motive.
No, definitely there was no ill intention.
Yeah.
That's why we withdrew and made an apology up front.
Now the one person whose name does feature prominently in the WhatsApp exchanges between Mr. Matlala and Mr. Mkhwanazi is Minister Mchunu. And Minister Mchunu had handed up an affidavit that was deposed to by Mr. Matlala, where he says words to the effect that there's no relationship, no connection. I forget the exact wording now, but something to that effect. We'll find the affidavit and read it back to you. But words to that effect. Now, you had subsequently also been handed some information which indicates that that may not have been the case. The impression is created by the affidavit handed up by Minister Mchunu that Matlala almost volunteered to give that information and deposed to an affidavit while he was at Vusimuzi. Now, you have made available to us, which I will ask that they flight a handwritten letter it is in the pack, so honorable chair, honorable members, you can see it yourself. It seems to be addressed to Nhlamulo, NHLUMULO -FYI for your attention or for your information, and it's a handwritten letter. Perhaps first just explain how you got this letter into your possession, and whether you know who this person is who wrote the letter or allegedly wrote the letter. Have you verified the contents of this letter? Have you sought to authenticate the letter? Just give us some background to this letter before we go to the relevant parts, please.
Thank you so much, Chair. Honorable Chair, a cousin of mine stays in Johannesburg, and she works in Johannesburg as well. She called me and told me that there is an information of someone in prison in Pretoria that wanted to see me and share information with me. But of course, I was in Devon and I could not just be in Pretoria, but I indicated to her that I'm going to be on my way to Pretoria, so if there's something that you want to share, I can meet up with you somewhere, collect whatever that you have collected and come and give it to me. And we made that arrangement. I traveled to Johannesburg and I met with her at, I think, Woodmead, if I'm not mistaken. And she gave me a handwritten document. And she gave me a bit of a background as to where does this handwritten document come from. So I took that and I was on my way to the Interpol conference in Morocco. I then thought I was going to be able to take time and read it and get to see whether what is written there can be of any assistance to anyone. So that's a background of how I got the letter. When I asked her how she received it herself, she said to me she got it from a gentleman who went to fetch this letter from prison, from a person who wrote it in prison. As you can see, the letter is not addressed to me. It's addressed to someone who I don't even know who the person is. I had to make an inquiry as to who is Nhlamulo. And my cousin had explained to me that Nhlamulo is a member of MK Party. I don't know if he's a spokesperson or what title does he have. But the person that wrote the letter is a friend or is a person who grew up with Nhlamulo. So he knows Nhlamulo very well. And as a result, that person was addressing this to Nhlamulo. And apparently the intention was to ask Nhlamulo to bring it to me. But it is said that Nhlamulo was not available. I think he was in Cape Town. And if I'm not mistaken, Nhlamulo would have sent his father to go and meet up with this person. And that's how the father collected this information. And that information was passed to my cousin, and that's how it got to me. So the person wrote like this, and I confirmed her whether can I present this thing before the committee, and he said, yeah, he's willing to testify. He's currently in one of the correctional centers in Gauteng, but no longer in Khosimapuru. And he had even put his name right at the bottom, because I thought we could redact the name in order to protect him. And he said, no, he doesn't mind. He can tell it as is. So that's why we have it here before us.
Sorry, and this is a convicted prisoner.
I'm not sure of his status, but what I read from here, he said he's been in that, I think, in custody for more than 3 years. So whether he's convicted or not, I've never investigated.
Waiting trial for 3 years, a bit long.
There are a lot of people that can be waiting trials for many years in our facilities.
Like in the Senzo Mchunu. But so his name appears to be Jermaine Prim. It's right at the end of this letter, just above the digit 8, Jermaine Prim.
Yeah, right at the end is written Jermaine Prim, and he signed it.
Yeah. Now, this letter is Jermaine Prim, the author of this letter. Is he writing this letter on the basis of information that he is now getting from Vusikat Matlala?
What I was informed is that this person was in the same correctional facility with Kat Matlala, and he interacted with Kat Matlala throughout the whole process. And a matter of fact, what the information I have is that it was just the two of them in the cell.
Now, you haven't verified this for yourself or through your investigating team or through any investigating team?
Yeah, well, no. I've shared this information with the team in Gauteng as they are investigating some other cases in Gauteng, but not necessarily me, myself, to get involved with that investigation.
Now, you agree that there are a lot of names in this letter?
According to what is written, this man, because I established as to how did he gather the information.